Working with builders in the last decade, Corne and I thought it'd be a good idea to put out our 2023 predictions for builder marketing.
I'm excited about this episode because we've never done a predictions video
Nah, never.
or podcast.
Yeah.
First of all, before we get started, where are we?
Currently, we're in a little town called Norwood in Adelaide.
A little town. I think we're basically just
Actually, no,
out of
it's pretty much just outside the city.
Yeah, we're like in the city, man. Anyway, so it's really cool. We went and had a coffee before, had a bit of a chat about, some business stuff and everything. We're in Adelaide because we are teaming up with Kurt, the builders coach, doing another workshop. We've done 3 or 4 of them in the past. Done Brisbane a couple of times, Sydney, Melbourne, and this time we're in Adelaide, so we're pretty excited. We're just here a few days before. Obviously, we're in an Airbnb. If you guys hear birds or some other noises, don't worry about it.
That's the Adelaide type of birds. They're just very happy and cheerful down here.
Yeah, and we might even go afterwards and record some extra audio to put it underneath this, so it sounds even better. I don't know. Anyway, so predictions 2023. Do you just want to get it?
Let's get straight into it.
Yeah.
I mean,
We've got 5 points.
Yeah.
Yeah.
5 points. What are they? What are those points? If you can start us off with that.
Should I list them all out, or should we just go one by one? I think let's just go one by one. Let's go number one.
Number one.
One of our predictions are more builders will adopt video.
Yeah. Now, why are you saying that though? Because I know that's a point that you kind of came up with as a prediction.
Yeah, and you didn't really understand it.
No.
And Andre was trying to get this out of me before the podcast started. And I said, let's record. We'll just talk about it. But okay, so there's no secret that video is great. I mean, especially for builders build. It's something very visual. It's no secret that, every builder should be using video. But this prediction of more builders will adopt video is kind of a positive and a negative. Yeah. You want to know more, right? Okay. So the positive about it is that more because video is more accessible these days, you could literally shoot video with your iPhone. I mean, you just shot some video footage before with your iPhone, and I came across some YouTube videos the other day that I didn't even know were shot with an iPhone, and we've got we're camera geeks. We love this. So the technology is there that it's more accessible for more people, including builders.
That's right.
So, if you train yourself up or someone in your team, you can shoot video and you can do it really well. The problem, I think, though, is most builders won't do it that way because they don't have time. They want to focus on what they do best, so they probably won't. But again, it's more accessible, so more people will shoot. The problem with that is that because more video content's getting created, it's becoming more and more of just normality. It's becoming boring in a way. So the negative here is that the content will not be as good and it'll just become boring. People won't even watch it anymore. So that is the opportunity. So I think for the builders that understand this, they will go, okay, well, how do we create the best type of content? Video is just a tool, but how do we tell a really good story? And I think that's where it comes down to. Is the focus will become even more on story.
So why are you saying, just sort of for those people that are like new listeners and that maybe haven't used video as such for their business, for their construction business, why is story such a huge thing to incorporate within your marketing? Yeah,
well, I think there's a lot of different reasons for it, but I think people seek story. It's built into our DNA. It's no secret. We were brought up with stories. My little girl is 8 months old and I'm already trying to tell her little stories, even though I'm thinking she probably doesn't even understand yet, but I'm trying to get used to that fact of telling her stories and, just being a good dad and role model and trying to educate her through the stories. So when it comes to builders using stories, you've got to look at it. You don't just build a product, someone gives you money and then it's done. You're actually part of someone's story. Because if you're building for a family or for whoever you're building for, it doesn't matter. You are part of their story. So if you can use story within your marketing, then you're just getting in sync a lot quicker.
Yeah. That's good. And like you said before, I think just bringing it back to what you brought up before with video is going to be, it's becoming such an easy thing for people just to pick up now. You know, people within the team can shoot. You just got so much more opportunity. There's so many more builders doing it. And I think the opportunity, like you said before, is now being more intentional with what you're actually putting out there. What are the stories that you put out there that will connect with clients? So how do you see that prediction being in the way stories are told, the way projects are shown, the way clients are shown, the journeys of clients being shown? Tell us a bit, what do you feel? What's your prediction with that for 2023?
Well, there are a few other prediction points that will go into this exact question that you asked here. But if it comes back down to video specifically, my prediction is the builders that have been doing video for the last few years, they're going to go deeper. They're going to double down. They're going to invest even more time and money into this because they can see the power of video. But they're going to see video just as a tool. They're going to focus more on the storytelling side of things, going even deeper on that. And that means they will invest the time in knowing, getting to know their clients or their target market even more and understand what stories they need to hear or see. And then the builders are going to invest the time to create those stories. So that's one of my predictions. One of my other predictions for the newer builders, they will adopt video. And that's the whole prediction here. More builders will adopt video. The new builders will adopt video. It'll be surface level. It'll be just around the project, just showing the project, just a lot of drone shots and all this kind of stuff. The builders that have been doing it for a while, they will invest more and go deeper on story.
Okay, so deeper. What are things, just quickly diving into that, I know we've got to move on to the next sort of predictions.
Yeah.
But like deeper, what do you mean by deeper? Because I think that's probably something, if I'm sitting this side, I'm thinking to myself, okay, well, how can we go even deeper?
Yeah. Well, that's probably a good question for you because, you know,
okay,
you're like, like if I had to ask you that question, like, what does that mean to you, deeper?
Yeah. It's exactly what you said before. It's understanding, the biggest thing is understanding who's your client. If you're looking at the last year, 2 years going, who have you really enjoyed working with and who's those people that you feel like you can add a lot of value to, it's now then telling those stories. And it's not just being surface level, like you said, showing a project and showing...
or even just talking about the project.
Talking about the project. It's actually using little moments throughout to give descriptions, to let people into that moment.
Yeah.
There's, you know, if you just kind of take it back to the basics of storytelling, you've got to remember when you're communicating a story to someone, there are different types of people. There are people that receive it in like a very analytical, numbers specific way. That's how they communicate. But then you've got people that are more emotional, a bit more, I always called airy-fairy. I kind of refer to myself as being a bit more airy-fairy in the sense of that's how I communicate. It's more about feeling and more about taste and that kind of stuff. But then there's the third one, which is like adventure and excitement. So you've got to remember now when you do stories, you can't just show visually what the project looks like. You've got to now go, well, for those emotional people, you've got to go, well, what is that new project? What does that mean for the family? And then it's a matter of, even as an example, a builder walking into a kitchen, like I'm sitting here looking at the kitchen now and showcasing the new kitchen, but then going, okay, cool, what is this going to mean for the client?
Yeah.
It's going to mean they're going to have barbecues here. They've set up their new oven and their stovetop in a way that's going to create a bit more easier to cook meals at night with the family. It means they're going to be able to sit down and have a good meal together.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, when I'm going a bit more in regards to story, they're going deeper, is really thinking on how it impacts the lives of your clients.
Yeah.
And then, like on the analytical side, I don't know, how would you kind of throw that if you had to use an example of analytical?
Yeah, like some sort of logical reason. And I mean, a lot of men are like more on the logical side. Well, that's what people normally say. So people normally say that men are very logical and very solution based. We can quickly solve a problem. You know, whenever my wife comes up with a problem to me, you know, I'm really quick to solve it. but instead all I had to do is just be there for her, like just show the sensitive emotional side. So yeah, even just within a family, there's different personalities. So I think what I'm getting from you, and I think we had a chat about this at the cafe before, is around, the businesses or even bands, like the way the Spice Girls back in the day was made up, or any band, there are different personalities. It's not just by accident. And the reason why there's different personalities is because then it'll cater for different people, and they will associate themselves or connect better with that band as a whole because they're connected to a single person.
Correct.
They almost see themselves as that person. And I think that's the same with builders, their client stories. When we say deeper, it's about, again, number one, understanding the clients that you want, and then going, what clients do I have, and what are their personalities? How are we going to connect those personalities with the other side? So it's not just surface level video content anymore, like a testimonial video where the client says, yeah, ABC Builder was amazing, they were on time, they built quality, and we love our house. Like it's deeper than that. It's showing the couple and their personality and what they love doing together, whether it's gardening. It always brings me back, the Kai Construct mountain home documentary that we created. That one was really unique because the couple, they loved gardening.
Straight from the kitchen out to the garden.
Yeah, they wanted to create their own vegetables and all that stuff.
Correct. Yeah.
So we showed that. We showed them hiking on their property. We showed their personality, and that's what connected the normal, the target market to those people, which then connected them to the builder. So it's almost like you're using your clients and their personalities to connect future prospective clients emotionally to your business.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I think one thing that sort of stands in the way of builders being able to do this is, I think the biggest negative is sometimes is you've got to understand what's your personality type and how do you communicate. And don't just think everyone else, when you're talking to prospective clients, will perceive you that way. You've got to understand, you might be talking to the husband, he'll understand you, but the wife won't. So I think that's kind of like just going on the prediction for next year is kind of going even deeper and understanding every family member. Because even if you can connect with the teenage son or daughter in a way, because if you can connect to them and you might catch up with them before going ahead with anything. And then later that night when they're having family dinner, the daughter might go, she's 15 years old, she's saying, I just love this builder. There was something that connected to her. So it's really understanding you're not just talking to one audience. Yeah. You might be talking to 3, 4, 5 different audiences.
Yeah.
So as a builder, a big thing is to really go and think about who are the people, the personalities, and know that you've got to try and hit every person in a way so that you have a better chance of connecting to that family as a whole.
Yeah. That's good.
What's our next prediction? What's prediction number 2?
So 2023, I think more builders are going to adopt educational-based marketing.
Okay, why educational-based? What has made you go on that one?
Well, I believe that by the time prospects sign the contract, they'll be way more educated. So what that means is builders are going to invest more time and money and resources into creating a better educated client. And I think the reason why they want to do that is because the more educated a client is, the better the whole building process will be for everyone. A more educated client will be easier to deal with. The project outcomes will be better. The team will have a better time. The client will have a better time because they know what to expect. Expectations are being set and everything else like that. Now, educational-based marketing is the part before the client becomes a client. It's the way you educate them. Educational-based sales is how do you educate that client during the sales process? And then client education is how do you educate them while they're a client? But I believe that if you can educate them through your marketing, it will become an easier sales process. So the way you educate your clients during the sales process will be easier because they've got a lot more context. They know what's happening already. You've been able to build this relationship and build their knowledge up. And again, by the time they're a client, they're well and truly educated, and it'll just be a more seamless type of process. This has come up a few times in the last 6 months for me. One good example is Kurt, the builder's coach, the one we're doing the workshop with on Friday. He's mentioned this a few times as well. And it's no secret. I think even builders have told me this. They're like, how can we educate our clients better? So they always come ask me, like, what can we put in place? So, I mean, obviously we're working on a few things now with some of our clients on how to educate their clients better. So kind of stay tuned there. But I think this is going to be a massive one.
So how could you see, for someone that's out there maybe sitting there going, cool, how could I, to some degree, take that on for 2023? What are maybe the first step or first couple steps that someone can take to ensure they're even a level higher with their educational...
Yeah. I mean, I think every builder should at least have a process and drawn out, publicized, whether it's on their website or a brochure or even an email that they send clients or prospective clients, with some descriptions along with that process and how the builder does that part. So let's say, for example, one of our first parts is an on-site consultation. This is what it is. This is why it's important to you, the client, and to me, the builder. And this is how we go about it. And this is the next step for you. Okay. So that's how you can educate them on that particular part of the process. Okay, so you educate them on each part of the process like that. What is it? Why is it important to the client and the builder? And how do we go about that? And what's the next step for the client? That's kind of like the formula for each part of the process. But then there's going to be other parts as well, things that I don't even know at this moment because every builder is so different. I think it's about looking into your business, looking at your clients, talking to your clients. What are some of their biggest fears, their limiting beliefs, false beliefs that they might have, objections that might stop them from going ahead? Not just going ahead with you, but going ahead with this whole build. You've got to know all those things because then you can create content around that to educate them.
So, but why would you want to bring up like those false beliefs or those fears when you don't necessarily want to reveal it? Or, why would a builder want to bring that up in the educational process, part of the process?
Well, if you're scared of doing something, there's a chance that you won't do it because you're scared. If you're not scared and you're well educated and you can take an educated risk, then there's more chance of you going ahead with that. Whether that's something physical that you do, if you want to, jump from one spot to the other spot.
Especially in this market, like this current market with, what's happening in 2022 and people, some people have sort of pulled back a little bit, like just watching what's happening with builders and stuff. Now, as more than ever, you've got to make it so confident. They've got to be so confident in you as a builder.
Yeah.
So it is bringing up those fears, like you say. It is revealing it, and then say, "But this is how we do it. This is how we overcome it." Because the more you can cross off those things, because you've got to remember, every client has this tick list in their mind subconsciously. They might not even think about it that way, and all they're doing is they're ticking things off, and they'll get to a certain point where once they've ticked off enough, then they're ready to go ahead.
Yeah.
And that's what we've got to do in 2023.
Yeah. That's it. So I think, it's ticking fears off in their minds and all that kind of stuff. Another side of educational-based marketing is these days, I'm sure you've heard of this thing that a brand needs to have 6 touch points before someone buys.
And it could even be more now.
Yeah, but that's just like a vague kind of...
Yeah.
What is a touch point? Like we don't even know.
Yeah.
Right? And also, what is it? Is it you selling this can, like 6 touch points? Yeah, cool, I'll buy that. No worries. Again, there's no risk to buying this can. If I don't like it, then I just don't buy it again.
Yeah.
Because it's like $1.
Yeah.
Whereas a big renovation or a new home, you can't just test it, You can't just try it out.
No.
There's
not
a lot of risk.
Not only, if your client's only doing it once in their life.
Yeah.
Twice in their life.
So that brings it back. I heard someone the other day say, a customer needs to I can't remember the name of this. I'll go research this properly again and bring it up in another podcast. But a prospective client need to consume at least 11 hours, not content, but they need to be thinking about you, be looking at you, taking in your content, all that kind of stuff, 11 hours before they make a decision. And that's a very general rule. It's not building specific. So it might even be more than that as a builder.
So how does a builder do that when let's say that maybe they've got a team of, it's maybe them and 2 other people in the team, compared to like someone that's got a corporation that have all the resources possible to do this? How does someone like that do it though?
Well, I think more builders, and I haven't seen any yet, will create, actually we've got a few clients that have done this a little bit. They'll create a YouTube channel and a podcast, something like this. Because then each episode they could touch on a topic, a fear, a false belief, and they can go in and talk about it. So I think hopefully that's a 2023 prediction. Maybe it's a 2024 prediction.
Yeah.
Because it takes time. It's hard. It's not easy.
Okay.
I mean, we've done this a few times for a few builders,
So what would you say to someone that is now going, well, I want to create more touch points?
Yeah.
Like what are just the various things that just jump off the top of your head?
Well, we've got a podcast planned for that with Mark on our team.
Of course.
But I'll give you a quick...
Yeah.
Actually, no, that's another topic, one we're going to be touching on next, which is the next one.
Yeah.
Do you want to go into the next one?
Yes, let's go for it.
Cool. So the next one is fusion marketing. So fusion marketing is a blend of physical and digital marketing.
Okay. So what do you mean by that?
Well, as builders, I think you're pretty lucky in a way because you've got the physical aspect. You can show people. Whereas like there's a lot of businesses out there, they can't see it yet. So they've got to invest a lot of money in getting people to visualize it in their own minds and stuff like that, especially intangible products. What you're creating is something super tangible. It's physical, it's location based. Chances are that you'll be building more in that location. So you're bound to location. I know there's some builders out there that have multiple offices all over Australia and stuff like that. That's a different story. But even then, you are still location based wherever you're building. So this one particularly, it's going to be around builders creating a project brochure and dropping it off in the neighborhood. Basically saying, hey, look, we're about to renovate this house on the street. Here's a QR code, scan it to stay up to date. And this is where people will go, and everyone is used to QR codes now, thanks to the pandemic, with all the scan-ins. So people will be able to scan the QR code, enter their email address. So now builders can capture their data, their email and their name and stuff like that, and they can send out email campaigns and communication to them related to that project. Now, I think the reason why people would jump on board and actually do this is because they're very curious. They're curious about what's happening in their community, what's happening around. They might want to get ideas for their own house and all that kind of stuff. So the builders that I think adopt this, so it's the physical aspect of location and brochure, dropping it off, and then having the digital marketing side set up, and then also being able to tell the story of that project as it progresses. So for example, the framing's up.
Yep.
And what that means, creating a video or content around that and emailing it out to that list. So it's about creating an audience and also the stories.
Yeah, to kind of double up with what you said there, people get very, like the reason why people in the street would like to see more of it is because people get nosy. They're like, what's this house selling for? Oh, they've got like a similar house. They're always like, where's my property at?
Yeah.
And like you said there, once you can drop it in and the QR code can be scanned and you take them along the journey, you'll give them ideas.
Yeah, exactly.
You'll plant new seeds. Yes, it might be 2 years away, but if you can plant that seed and have them start talking about it, it throws us back to that last point of they're starting to think about you and there's more touch points.
Yeah. And again, another reason why people don't go ahead and renovate or don't even start thinking about it is because they don't even know what they want. So they almost want, like you said before, they want an idea. So if you live, let's say, for example, we're in Adelaide here. What's it called? Norwood. let's say you live here in Norwood, chances are that a lot of the houses will be of a similar type because it was built at a particular stage or age or
Correct,
yeah. So if they'll all look very similar. Some people will be like, oh, I need a bit of a refresh, but I just don't know what. I don't know what's possible. So they might look at, you know, some architecture or some videos or, you know, some TV shows, but they're in different locations. It's, let's say, for example, Queensland. Then it's the architecture and everything there is completely different. So it might not fit here from an environmental point of view and all that kind of stuff. So they want an idea of what's happening in their town.
That's right.
Yeah. So this one, I think, is builders need to adopt this as soon as possible.
Yeah.
This one is so powerful. I don't think we understand how much power this has. Yeah. Because if you let's say if you renovate someone's house here in Norwood and you drop that brochure off and everyone can see the progress, see the whole journey, the story of it, and then the finished product, and they go, oh, yeah, I want that. Or that's a good starting point. I just want to do this and this and this with mine. Who's going to be the builder of choice?
Oh, of course, the one that's already done something like that.
Yeah.
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 That's good.
That's a good prediction, I think.
That's a cool little tactic to use. Something simple for any builder to really take on.
Yeah, and the QR code is that the same thing goes for site signage and cars. Vehicle signage.
And I guess just uniforms on site. I know that's probably not a biggie, but
yeah,
just those little
I've
touch
never seen
points.
a QR code on someone's
Oh, not so much
shirt, but anyway.
Yeah, scan my
Yeah.
my shoulder or just tattoo it on their shoulder.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you could try that.
Yeah.
But the reason why this works really well is because, I mean, I've just shown you how that works into the digital side of things. But another good thing is when they scan that QR code, and especially for our clients, why this is good for our clients. So if you're a client listening to this, do this whole, you know, fusion marketing thing. When we get them on your website, now we're showing them your stories and your projects and everything else through your Facebook and Instagram advertising that we've set up, the remarketing side of things. So when you go and look at a product and you keep seeing it.
Yeah.
So again, this is more touch points, 11 hours, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's great. Well, let's keep moving. What's the next topic, Corne?
The next topic is...
next prediction.
The next prediction is we see more builders. I don't think they will do this, but this is what they need to do. They need to build an audience.
So what do you mean by building an audience? Are you talking like Instagram? I'm just kind of like asking the questions here that are relevant. Or are you talking about like an email marketing audience?
I think it's everything.
Okay.
And I think this is something that I want to explore with you. And I mean, some of the things we just spoke about before, you know, especially around, you know, more builders will adopt video, educational based marketing, fusion marketing. All of those are like part of building an audience. But the builders with the biggest audience will have more choice of clients.
So, but if you say biggest audience, just to kind of go back to that, because what is a big audience? And also, does it go about quality versus quantity?
I think it's an audience. Let's not limit it to different channels like Instagram or YouTube or even an email list. Let's just break it down really simple. The more people that know about a building company and actively builds a relationship with them, they will win.
Yeah. Okay.
So now as a builder, you can go have a look at where is your audience. You know, are they hanging out on Instagram, YouTube, email list? I guess you can't hang around on an email list, but everyone's got an email. So you need to be building your email list anyway. But yeah, where is your audience? You know, and that might be like, think outside the box. Don't just think in terms of digital marketing, like how we help our clients. Think about things like joint ventures, kind of like what we're doing with Kurt now. You know, we're teaming up on Friday. We've marketed it to our audience, and Kurt's marketed to his audience. And now we're bringing people together, and we're building a relationship with them. We're providing them with good, valuable content. And then maybe one day they'll become a client. So builders need to think about, how do we do that? I know it's easy to say like, oh, well, BizVideo and Kurt, like what they do is this is like business to business. But think about B2C, business to consumer. Who else has your audience? Who's got my audience? That's what I want you to think about as a builder. And then think, how can I team up with someone like that that'll be mutually beneficial? You're not just trying to hijack their audience. You're trying to add value to their audience as well, and also give them an audience. So how can you, do that?
So kind of like a partnership.
Yeah.
Forming partnerships in a way to...
Yeah. So who else has your audience? That's not a competitor. That's all you need to think about.
So would you say it's kind of like working with like architects or interior designers or type of building products companies out there, or...
Could be. I mean, yeah, that's where my mind goes straight away to like architects. But again, how do we think outside the box even more? It could be around real estate agents. It could be things in the community. You want to build your brand within the community as well. You want to be seen as someone that contributes to the community.
But let's say there's a builder out there and he's sitting there and they only build 2 homes a year, if that. And he'd be like, but why do I need to build an audience? Because I only need 2 builds. And if I've got my next 2-3 years sorted already, why does that matter then to me?
Yeah. I mean, I've heard of builders just through, people that I talk to that have just one client. It's like a developer. And that developer just feeds them work every single year. Okay, so that's great. I mean, if that's your business model, keep going with that. I think one fear is if that developer doesn't do it anymore or whatever, then, you've put all your eggs in one basket. So that's obviously, there's positives and negatives for everything. When it comes to, if you're just doing 2 projects directly to like business to consumer, to the consumer market, well, then you've got to think about, okay, well, where's my next 2 coming from? And what do I want those next 2 to be? Do I want to have even better choice? Yeah.
And that's an interesting topic because it comes back to brand equity. It's kind of going, it's like as an individual, you'll go, for example, yourself, Corne, to build wealth, you'll try and invest into like the residential market or the commercial market, and you'll start slowly but surely putting things in different baskets, even like crypto, stocks, etc. And I think now, the day and age that we live in where we're going, 2023, 2024, 2025, one of those baskets need to be brand equity now. And it's got to become, if you do only 1 project a year, it doesn't matter if you've got the next 2-3 years booked out. A big thing is to keep building on that brand equity. I know that's one thing that we strongly believe in just in the business and everything, is that you got to keep providing value, even though if everything looks good for the next while ahead.
Yeah.
You don't know what it's going to be in 2-3 years from now, but also like what doors that could open can be huge.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things that you've got to think further ahead than just the next year. Think about what's that other wealth compartment or basket when it comes to brand equity. How can you start filling that basket?
Yeah.
How can you start chipping away at that?
Yeah. You're really investing. Again, like building an audience is like investing, just like any other investment.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's crucial, and it can open so many doors.
Yeah.
I've seen it. Yeah.
So the last prediction is project documentaries. So I believe more builders will, especially the ones that have done video in the past and story, now it's like they're going to do project documentaries in a way. It's going to go next level. I mean, we've done this a few times, short little documentaries. That's been amazing. I think one thing that's inspired us is Chef's Table. Chef's Table,
Huge
if you don't
fan
know
of it,
that,
yeah.
go check it out on Netflix. We absolutely love it.
Yeah.
It's beautiful cinematography, beautiful storytelling, and amazing food.
Yeah.
And, obviously each episode is around a particular chef. But what do they say? So the chefs don't get paid, you said?
Well,
we don't think
I don't know
so.
that much to that extent, but I know like in the chef world, for you to to make it, if you know, whether you get a Michelin star or you get one of these James Beard Awards or whatever they call them, that's kind of when you make it. But Chef's Table, from what I've heard, and I could be wrong, so don't take me for this, is that you haven't made it as a chef until you've had your story told by Chef's Table.
It's a pretty big claim, yeah.
So,
but again, that's where the world is moving, right?
Yeah.
Back in the day, Michelin star was, you know, it's something that you can put on like we're a Michelin star, you know,
Yeah.
restaurant.
yeah,
Whereas now it's almost like, again, if we just go back to the previous point about building brand equity, this is building brand equity.
that's right.
It's like I've been on Chef's Table, like my story's out there.
Yeah,
And I mean, every time we watch a Chef's Table, and I'm like, I really want to go there, I'll go pin it on Google straight away. So if in case we go to that country, and you know,
yeah,
I'll definitely go visit that.
Yeah.
Because of the story.
yeah.
Yeah.
I've watched Chef's Table, like they've had, I think like 6-7 seasons, and then they got these little different ones like in Asia and barbecue versions, and they just had a pizza one. And I've noticed some of these chefs, like after doing Chef's Table, they just shot up.
Yeah.
Because what happens is it's like a way of promoting that chef, but you get all these eyes glued to your story. You get they get so sold on this person's story for an hour that people are just like, man, I love this person after it.
Yeah. So the prediction is there's going to be more project documentaries. So do you think the story should be around the builder, kind of like Chef's Table being the chef, or is it going to be around the client? Because
Well,
the ones we've done was around the client.
I think, but the thing is, even though it's about the client, the builder's still involved, and it's
Yeah.
still building brand equity for that builder.
Yeah.
And I feel like as a builder and as a building company and a building brand, whether you see yourself as just a builder or a building brand, it's important, man. Like while you go along, like tell the stories from the client's point of view, but it's good to build that brand equity in your building brand as well.
Yeah, and also you're building an audience by JVing up, because you could bring in the architect here as well.
Yes,
Bring in the architect, bring in the interior designer, bring in the landscape
that's right.
designer, architect, or whoever's involved there. So yeah, I think project documentary is going to become more and more of a thing, because again, we're trying to push the envelope as you know, video is becoming more accessible. Our first prediction, you know, the builders that really want to go deep on this, they're going to go like, what can we do next? I think it's going to be project documentaries. I've got a few notes here, like what it'll do. I mean, I believe it'll build more demand for your brand, kind of like what we've said about the Chef's Table thing.
Yeah,
You know, some of those episodes, we've never heard of those people. We've been in those areas. I mean, there's heaps around Los Angeles. I mean, there's episodes from all over the world.
yeah,
I've been to Los Angeles countless times, but I've never heard of that chef.
yeah,
But now that I know about him, I'll go there next time. So yeah, I think there's going to be more demand. Some of the ones that I've watched, I've read articles and seen posts afterwards that the line was so crazy out the door, you had to wait like 3 hours,
Yeah.
or you had to book like 3 months or 6 months in advance. So that is build more demand for your brand.
Yes.
So why does this matter to you as a builder? It's about being in more demand so that you can have more choice. You want a lineup. Kurt always says you want a sushi train of clients. So it's like a sushi train, and they just keep coming, and you just pick the ones that you want. That's a great analogy. Project documentaries will also educate more people because it's a longer format. It's more beautiful. It's more story based. You can educate around the fears, and you know that goes back to educational based marketing as well. Educational based marketing doesn't have to be in a format like this podcast. It can be in a 10-minute, 20-minute documentary where you educate the clients through your other clients, or through the architect, or through yourself as a builder. And I think probably the most powerful one is a project documentary is heavily story based, and it's where you can take people on a journey. People love going on journeys.
And man, like being in the construction space and developing the products that builders develop for their clients, man, you're in the easiest industry to tell stories.
Yeah.
And you got to just capitalize on it. You just got to do it. Like you're playing with all the senses. It's like visual. It's like taste. I know you're not tasting it, but seeing, hearing, everything.
But we always put taste in, well, most of them. Most of the stories we create for clients, there's some sort of taste element.
Yeah.
People eating food.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've got all the senses, like you're saying.
And
I mean, there's some businesses out there, I can think of a lot right now, like a lot of industries right now, where if they're listening to this podcast, they're like, how the heck do we do that for our business? Man, as builders, it's easy.
That's right.
If you're not doing these things, yeah.
Well, the opportunity is there for 2023 to start at it.
Yeah.
Just make a step towards it.
So those are the predictions. Number one, more builders will adopt video. Okay. And the builders that are already doing video, they're going to go deeper. They're going to do more story-based. Next one is educational-based marketing and educational-based sales. Be educating clients more, setting better expectations. Number three is fusion marketing. So a blend of physical and digital. So utilizing brochures around your location with a QR code. Next one is building an audience. I think a lot more builders are going to invest in building their audience, building their brand equity. And lastly, number 5, project documentaries. So if you haven't watched Chef's Table as a builder, go watch it.
Go binge.
Yeah, go binge it. Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely is good. No, that's awesome, man. There's some great topics in there, and
hopefully we're right. Hopefully a year from now, we can look back at this episode and look back at our 5 predictions, and it'll be more of a case. And we'll see that straight away with our clients. I mean, we help a lot of builders, so we'll see how it goes. Thank you for tuning into our podcast. If you haven't already, visit bizvideo.com.au/podcast, where you can subscribe for updates to every new podcast episode.